Okay, so are you ready to dive in? Because today we are tackling a debate that is happening right now in Jamaica.
Ooh, I love it. Hit me with it.
It's all about national heroes.
I am so here for this.
Who deserves that title? How do you even decide?
Right. And what does it even mean to be a hero to a nation?
You've been digging deep into all this, and let me tell you, we've got a mountain of articles, speeches, even some folklore.
Oh, wow. Okay, so where do we even start?
Well, Jamaica already has 7 national heroes right now.
Big names like Marcus Garvey, right?
Exactly, the father of Pan-Africanism himself.
And of course, you can't forget about Bustamante and Manley, those political giants.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. There's this constant hum, this undercurrent of discussion in Jamaica about who else should be up there on that pedestal.
Yeah, it's about more than just names from the past, isn't it?
It's totally about legacy representation, the soul of the nation all wrapped up in one.
And that whole debate, well, it exploded recently, didn't it? When Barbados named Rihanna a national hero.
Oh man, did it ever. It was like everyone in Jamaica suddenly had an opinion.
And a strong one at that, I'm sure.
100%. Even Senator Floyd Morris jumped in. He's proposing Bob Marley, Jimmy Cliff, Usain Bolt.
Wow, okay, so we're talking music icons, a global sports superstar.
You know it. And hold on, because he also wants to add Miss Lou to that list.
Louise Bennett Coverley, the queen of Jamaican folklore herself.
The one and only.
Okay, but adding a name to that national hero list? I'm guessing it's not as easy just, putting it to a vote.
You are so right. It's serious business. It's all laid out in the National Honors and Awards Act.
Oh, wow. So there's like a whole legal process for this.
You better believe it. The Governor General makes the final call, but the Prime Minister weighs in too.
Okay, so multiple layers of decision-making.
Exactly. And here's the thing. While those 4 names, Marley, Cliff, Bolt, Miss Lou, they grab the headlines.
For good reason, they're huge.
Absolutely. But the conversation about potential heroes, it goes way beyond those 4.
It's almost like the more you dig into Jamaican history,
The longer that list of potential heroes gets.
which in itself speaks volumes, doesn't it? About the depth and the complexity of Jamaica's story.
No kidding. And speaking of complex, let's talk about the heroes already on that list.
Oh yeah, because even their stories, they come with their own share of debate and intrigue.
Like take Nanny of the Maroons, for example.
Legendary figure shrouded in mystery.
A true icon of resistance.
Okay, so you've got accounts of her military genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leading the Windward Maroons against the British Empire.
Talk about a David and Goliath story.
Right, but then you have these whispers, these almost mythical stories about her too.
Oh, you mean like the one where she could catch bullets? Come on. How cool is that image?
It definitely captures the imagination. Now, of course, historians are quick to point out her mastery of guerrilla warfare.
Her deep understanding of the land.
Exactly. Those are the real reasons behind her victories. But that blend of fact and legend.
It's what makes her story so enduring, right?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
She becomes larger than life, a symbol, an idea.
And then you have someone like George William Gordon, successful businessman, but he used his position to speak truth to power.
A vocal critic of colonial rule during a very tense time.
And we know that didn't exactly end well.
Sadly, no. He got caught up in the events of the Morant Bay Rebellion, 1865, a major uprising.
And leading that rebellion, that was Paul Bogle.
Another one of Jamaica's national heroes.
Okay, so just to be clear for everyone, the Morant Bay Rebellion,
This is huge.
it was this massive protest against the injustices faced by Black Jamaicans under colonial rule.
We're talking about the very core of Jamaican history here.
And Gordon, who was seen as more of a reformer, and Bogle, who led the armed rebellion, they're both honored as national heroes today.
Which speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It shows that Jamaica recognizes different forms of resistance, different paths to fighting for justice.
It certainly does. And speaking of fighting for justice, we can't talk about Paul Bogle without mentioning another hero, Samuel Sharp.
Wait, you mean the Baptist deacon?
The very same.
The one who spearheaded the Christmas Rebellion back in 1831.
That's him. And it's fascinating because Sharp, he actually planned a peaceful protest.
Really?
He believed, and mistakenly so, that emancipation had already been granted by the British Crown.
Oh, wow.
But when the plantation owners responded with violence, the rebellion erupted.
So much for peaceful protest.
Right. Talk about courage under fire. What's remarkable, though, is how Sharp used his platform as a preacher to mobilize people.
To inspire them with a vision of freedom.
It adds a whole other dimension to this idea of heroism, don't you think?
It really does. It's like religion resistance and social change all intertwined.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? This whole debate about who deserves that hero title Didn't end with those historical figures.
It's alive and well today, especially when we look at those Heroes Day messages.
Oh, you mean the speeches from the prime minister and the opposition leader?
Exactly, like a yearly check-in on what it means to be a hero in modern Jamaica. And 2023, let me tell you, those speeches were telling.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, it's like they were two sides of the same coin. The prime minister, he was all about what he called everyday heroism, like real people making a difference.
Right. He talked about families supporting each other, teachers going above and beyond, nurses working tirelessly, even kids helping their classmates. It was all about those everyday acts of kindness, resilience, community spirit.
The things that actually hold a nation together.
Exactly. And it played right into his message of hope and progress.
Because he also talked about Jamaica's economic achievements, right?
Oh, yeah. He brought up things like the low unemployment, the rise in exports, the improvement in credit ratings.
Yeah.
All signs of a nation on the move.
So his whole thing was, we've got challenges, sure, but look how far we've come.
And it's all thanks to those everyday heroes.
100%. But then you've got the opposition leader. He's coming at it from a totally different angle.
Oh, yeah. How so?
His message was like a call to action, a reminder that the fight for truly just and equal Jamaica, it's not over yet.
Powerful stuff.
Right. He wanted Jamaicans to channel those original national heroes.
Especially when it comes to tackling things like inequality and poverty,
And the shadow of colonial rule.
which he actually called to break completely right.
Oh, yeah, he did. He wants to remove the British monarch as head of state and abolish the Privy Council as Jamaica's highest court of appeal.
Now that is a statement, especially on Heroes Day.
No kidding. But it's important to understand the Privy Council, it's this body way over in London,
And it's the final court of appeal for a bunch of Commonwealth countries.
including Jamaica,
And for a lot of people, it represents this holdover from colonial rule.
like a barrier to true self-determination.
So by bringing up the Privy Council on Heroes Day,
He's basically saying, to truly honor those heroes, Jamaica needs to finish what they started.
cut those last ties to colonialism.
Exactly. And that message, it really resonated with people.
People who believe that real heroism, it's about dismantling oppressive systems.
Creating a more equitable society.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like he was urging Jamaica. Yes, celebrate how far you've come, but don't forget the work that still needs to be done.
To truly live up to those ideals that those heroes fought for.
And this whole debate about national heroes, it's even more complicated when you realize,
What do you think?
well, that some key figures in Jamaican resistance, they haven't been officially
You're
recognized.
talking about Chief Tacky, aren't you?
The one and only leader of the 1760 St. Mary Rebellion.
A pivotal moment in Jamaican history.
No doubt. A true testament to the spirit of resistance against slavery and the fact that he's not an official national hero. It adds fuel to that fire.
To that conversation about who gets included in that narrative of heroism.
And who gets left out.
It's like, what makes a hero? Who decides?
Right. And how do you reconcile a history as complex and honestly as painful as Jamaica's?
With who you choose to put on a pedestal.
Those are some seriously tough questions. And the thing is, this whole debate, it's not just happening in academic circles.
Or political speeches.
It's alive in the physical spaces of Jamaica, too.
You're talking about the National Heroes Park.
Exactly. In Kingston, where many of Jamaica's national heroes are actually buried.
But it's more than just a cemetery, right?
Oh, way more. It's a living, breathing symbol of Jamaican history and identity.
Alongside those big names from politics, you've got cultural icons too.
People like Toots Hibbert, Dennis Brown,
Yeah.
legends of reggae,
And there's been all this talk about redeveloping the park.
making it more accessible, more engaging for visitors.
What better way to bring history to life?
Right. But even that comes with challenges. Funding security.
Because it's in a high crime area.
Exactly. It's a microcosm of that larger debate, isn't it?
It's not just about who we honor.
It's about how we remember them.
Yeah.
How we keep their legacies alive and relevant.
And that brings me to this question that I've been wrestling with this whole time. This whole thing with Jamaican heroes, who they are, what they represent. It's like we're talking about something much bigger.
It's the heart of Jamaica, isn't it? It's about how a nation sees itself, what it chooses to honor.
And how it reckons with its past, the good and the bad.
Exactly. This back and forth between history and the present day, between owning the struggles and celebrating the victories.
And you see it everywhere in Jamaica. From the halls of parliament to the streets, even in the very existence of National Heroes Park.
That's what I love about this whole thing, this idea of heroism. It's not some dusty old statue. It's alive.
It changes people, debate, it challenges it.
And in the end, it reflects who a nation really is at its core.
And for Jamaica, that core is all about the fight for freedom, for justice, for resilience. Oh, and music. Can't forget about the music.
Absolutely. You can't talk about Jamaican heroes without talking about reggae, Bob Marley, for example. Some people say he should be right up there.
Which just goes to show that this whole conversation about heroes, it's not over. It'll keep evolving.
As new generations come of age.
Bringing their own perspectives, challenging the old stories, and that's what's so exciting.
It's a living history.
It keeps us thinking about our values, what we aspire to be.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Jamaican heroes, I want to leave you with this.
I'm all ears.
How does a nation as vibrant and as complex as Jamaica, with a past as rich and, let's be honest, as painful as it is triumphant, how does it choose who gets that hero status?
What really matters? Whose stories rise to the top? Those are questions we all have to grapple with.
No easy answers, but they're worth asking.
Because Jamaica's story, it's a story about the human spirit, the never-ending fight for freedom, for equality. And those are conversations we need to be having everywhere.